Who's the hippest, baddest, fattest brother in the neighborhood?
Do you guys remember that one Nike commercial where it's different versions of LeBron James around a swimming pool? In the old version of LeBron sits to LeBron with an afro.
You won't get in the water. You don't want to get his hair wet. Pretty boy.
And he's like, alright, old nigga, bet. And he does the most light-skinned dive for a dark-skinned man ever. Like Drake Drew Walls type level light-skinned shit, this nigga tucks his legs mid-air. Nike ended up making more commercials with these characters and called them the LeBrons. Watching back on them, they were pretty funny. I mean, I was only a year old when these released, but I can definitely see why they were so iconic around that era. But, yeah. Oh yeah, they made a show out of that. Shockingly enough, a show with a pretty long longevity for an animated series. It had more seasons than Glitch Techs. What the fuck is Glitch Tech? The LeBrons is a show about LeBron James, living with LeBron James. And sometimes he gets really good advice by his grandfather, LeBron James. Oh yeah, it's this other nobody that pops up in episodes from time to time. I have no idea what his deal is. Alright, so other than the obvious display of narcissism in the main cast, is this show any good? Well, instead of giving you a straightforward answer, I could either A, review the entire series of 17 episodes, B, not do that at all, or C, make the old school, you see the watch time, I'm gonna do option A anyway joke. Cast your votes now. I apologize for what you guys are about to witness.
And come out to show them. Open the bruise up and let some of the bruised blood come out to show them.
So this show, according to itself, is supposed to be a modern day Fat Albert. And with that, it's supposed to have a certain life theme in every episode, and that theme is supposed to tie into Kid's life. Kid being the main character and is also supposed to be out of universe LeBron as a kid, but apparently he's related to the in-universe LeBron, and they're like a family or something. Huh? I really wish that they took a clear stance on this because it's all very confusing, and the writers and the people who market this show have been found contradicting themselves a lot. Like, I don't get it. Isn't this supposed to be Bron before he became king? Or not? The dude with the afro is supposed to be business because I guess he's a businessman or whatever, and he's supposed to reflect LeBron's business side. He checks the stock market, guys. He is such a business nigga. He got bitches to handle his business, nigga. And the granddad knockoff is supposed to be wise because he's wise like an old man. And I guess he's supposed to be a reflection of the wise part of LeBron, but he really doesn't say anything wise, like, at all. Honestly, I'm just starting to think that they gave them these names so they could nicely fit into the intro, which is a fucking bop, by the way. Thank you, the LeBrons, for making a catchy song I can bump while walking around my campus with my Beats headphones and my Nike Tech fleece. Not sponsored. I fucking wish. Yeah, it's a lot of product placement in this damn show. So much to where I have to genuinely wonder if the brands that they keep slapping their logos on are funding it. Like, I know this show basically wouldn't be a thing without the Nike ads that were based on it in the first place, but does every nigga have to wear a Nike hoodie? And does every sort of monitor or computer peripheral have to have a goddamn HP or Intel logo? Like, HP TVs don't even exist. And it's like 3 logos on the screen, bruh. Nobody's buying this shit. Wait, HP and Intel, why are they being promoted on the LeBrons? Well, that's because instead of putting the series online or, I don't know, Vimeo or whatever the fuck was being used in 2011 for web cartoons, they instead opted to release all episodes on, and I shit you not, Xbox 360 via Xbox 360 Video. But what if I don't have an Xbox? Then fuck you! The true victor of the console wars was a system that could play the LeBrons. But they did also put it on MSN Video for people who want to view it online. Oh yeah, MSN Video doesn't exist anymore. This, along with the fact that the show was exclusive to console, would make it kind of difficult for me to find high quality rips of the first season online for B-roll. Because of this, I had to fork over a total of $7.99 on Amazon Prime Video to watch this shit, so it better be worth it. I spent that fucking money on like Canes or something, but no, I have to spend it on watching this garbage. The main cast is kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the concept of living with different personalities of yourself isn't a bad one, and I actually applaud that they didn't throw this idea out of the window, but they definitely aren't doing the idea justice. Like, Wise isn't Wise at all. In fact, he's a bit of a weirdo pervert. He's like a master Epstein.
All them young girls around here showing their skin.
He's mostly there for comic relief, but he really isn't funny. He likes perving on the next door neighbor, the neighbor of which being this kind old lady who's actually wise named Gloria. She gives the main character, Kid, advice and is actually really comforting from all the other characters in the show. And it turns out she has the same name as LeBron's mom, which is pretty cool that he made his mom the best character in the show, even though the older version of himself pervs on her, which is totally normal and not creepy at all. On the topic of things that aren't creepy, there was this one episode where one of Kid's peers were fanboying over Athlete in a pretty eye-raising way. I shit you not, one of them literally said,
"But I'm pretty sure I got Athlete's sweat on me."
In a pretty weird way. Like, oh, aren't these characters in what I assume to be high school? Like, what the fuck? The character I could actually kind of tolerate in this show is Business. And for some reason he's voiced by LeBron, while the current version of LeBron James in this show, the one that would make you go, "Hey, that's LeBron James," is voiced by this sound-alike.
Thank you.
You're welcome, my dear.
What?
I don't really know if he's trying to replicate LeBron's voice, but if he is, he isn't really trying. The guy in Multiverses did a better job than this. When it comes down to LeBron's acting in this show, it really isn't as bad as he did in Space Jam 2. I don't know if he was intentionally trying to sabotage himself in that movie or not, because he actually sounds fine here. He keeps up this playboyish voice while in different emotions pretty well, and it doesn't really get annoying all that much for me, at least anyway. Of course, I'm not saying it's one of the best performances here by a long shot. That'd probably have to go to Niecy Nash, who is surprisingly the voice of Gloria. When it comes down to the animation for this show, it's not that bad, to be honest. I mean, I'm not saying that it's the best either, but for what it's worth, the first season is pretty well boarded and animated. The animation for this show is done by Digital Emation in Korea, while pre-production company House of Cool did the storyboards and designs, both of which have pretty notable works on their portfolios. Look, there it is! I know it may seem like I'm glazing the intro of this show, but I really like how they did it. I mean, everything from the boarding to the camera work. I especially like how LeBron tosses the hat to the kid version of himself like a Fat Albert throwback. Although it is sometimes I have to wonder what the fuck they're doing with the animation. Like, in the first episode, the camera was just jumping up and down rapidly while they were being chased by a dog, and it's just some instances where background characters just stare into the fucking infinite void without blinking. And then there's this fucking kid. It has nothing to do with the animation quality, I just fucking hate him. The word simple is really the main thing to sum down how all the animation and designs are for this show, other than the occasional when they try to make designs based off of people in real life, so that specific character has to look over designed to look like their real counterpart. The way that they did this nigga was fucked up, by the way. It looks like a Meat Canyon character. When it comes to LeBron though, I have to say that they did succeed for this. I wish I did say the same thing on how they designed Drake. And yes, I'm not bullshitting you, Drake is in this show. I was surprised too when I saw his name listed on the cast. This nigga looks nothing like him, but they definitely made him act like him.
We just came out for the kids.
What do you mean by that?
Jesus Christ, even in cartoons, this man's crimes have no bounds. He'll just statutorily Drake anything that he sees. He only has like 2 phoned-in lines for the entirety of this episode. I really don't think he could have been fucked to care about voicing this shit. Either that, or the people who brought him in probably didn't have that much to pay him for, so they just phoned in 2 lines. Nah, because what really pisses me off, right, is that they really made a rap episode, and it was very clear that Drake was in this episode, and you would think that he would rap, right? But no, they just let his friend rap for him. Like, who is this nigga, bruh? They did the same thing in the Cleveland show where they had Kanye West, whose views I do not endorse, on, and he actually rapped. While it isn't anything to glaze over, like literally all of his fucking fans do, it was more so of the fact that he actually rapped in the episode about rapping. Like, they just didn't have him on not to do shit. The first episode, Lion, wasn't a complete bore and was actually a nice introduction to the show. I like how these characters were put in this bizarre situation with an actually nice ending. Some of the episodes focus on Kid and his arc, which is fine, I guess. It would be hard to explore other characters in the short web series. So they try to set up this story arc with him being an athlete's shadow, which, to be honest, is pretty shitty. In the episode Coach, Kid was apparently thinking that he deserves a spot on his school basketball team because he's related to Athlete, and it's implied that he thinks this, but he literally just doesn't say or imply it. I mean, sure, he goes out to play street ball, but that's only because the bully kind of manipulated him into thinking that he should. Despite all of this, though, the Coach character just shits on Kid for no reason, saying that he shouldn't be able to bend the rules just because he's related to Athlete, even though he himself didn't say or imply that in the first place, and he was manipulated to do something because the bully told him to. To be honest, this entire episode and the Coach character is just doing tricks on LeBron's Lamite more than his fans. Eventually, Kid and his friends ended up making it on the basketball team, so that episode was just made for no reason and didn't really serve any purpose to this story that they're trying to make. I think that they're trying to tell a story here, I'm not sure. It really is confusing sometimes because some episodes are self-contained and some of them have hints of plot, but the some that have hints of plot just crash and burn terribly. In the first episode of this season finale 3-parter, Kid was close to making a buzzer shot in his game, but he missed. In the next episode, I could kind of understand why he's upset. Like, he just flopped in front of like the whole school, so I mean, reasonably, yeah, he would be upset, but he just slowly evolves into an asshole around the people who are trying to help him as the episode goes on, and it's like, dude, what the fuck? Albeit his friends are kind of bad at trying to make him feel better and are just sort of acting like dicks. His crush, Lee and Gloria, actually try to comfort him and are just met with him being an asshole in the end. Nigga even threatened his friend after he was overreacting. In the end of this episode, he goes up against the bully for some reason in a street ball match, and for some reason his friends just kind of back him up in the next episode. They really should have ditched his ass, but whatever. Without apologizing to his friends, Kid won the game and he didn't learn shit in the end. This little nigga doesn't deserve shit. I really hope the next season of this show is Oh no. Don't click off. There will be more Hazy Retro after this break.
Only HP PCs come with Beats Audio. Feel the music like never before.
Season 2 of the LeBrons is more action-packed, more high stakes, and facing their biggest threat yet. The United States Army. Now you may be wondering, because I sure as hell was when I saw this, what's up with the animation, dude? Why are they CGI now? That was until I got the answer in the Season 2 sneak peek of the LeBrons behind the scenes.
Watch out, Cyber World. Here comes the LeBron.
Cyber World? What? Alright, so for those who aren't aware, 3D animation, more specifically in television, is cheaper than 2D, as well as it being less time consuming to produce, making it easier to meet deadlines and overall better for production from a business perspective, which is mainly why you see companies, especially Nickelodeon, pivot to more 3D stuff. I should also mention that most 3D animation studios are in-house, basically meaning that they're produced within the United States opposed to being produced in Korea. This is the main factor as to why it's cheaper. It isn't a bad thing per se, especially when it looks like the people making it actually give a semblance of a fuck of whether it looks appealing or not, and as you can see here, they don't. The company that funds this show is either like, yeah, we aren't paying you that much money ever again, when they saw how much the first season brought in, and that is if this shit even made any money. I genuinely wouldn't know how they grossed a penny, to be real with you. Maybe they were getting the money back from the product placement deals that they had with some of these companies to slap their logos on in the show, but there's no real way to say for sure. And if they did, then that'd be a pretty bad way of getting income for a television show that was probably targeted toward, what, 6-year-olds? What is a 6-year-old gonna buy a fucking HP laptop or something like that? Speaking of product placement, it's still prevalent in season 2, even though they stopped with the HP advertising, even though it's still on Microsoft consoles when it came out. When I was first researching for this show, the first thing that kind of bewildered me about it was obviously the fact that it shifted from 2D to 3D, but was also the fact that it ran from 2011 to 2014. So I started looking up where I could watch the other seasons. The behind the scenes clip that I showed you guys earlier was included in the first season that I bought on Prime Video. So where do I watch the second season? An unofficial YouTube channel, of course. Thank you, Yellow King. This season was on their official YouTube channel along with the first, but they aren't here anymore for some reason, along with the trailer for the second season and a video based on one of the new characters. Like, seriously, if it wasn't for this random YouTube channel, this would probably be lost media. And I'm kind of sad that that isn't the case because, for one, I could use this for clickbait, and two, this shit is better off lost. I'm not gonna lie. So I guess this means I have to watch the second season now. This time around, every episode is just one segment instead of two segments in one episode. I'm not sure if the person who uploaded this on YouTube split them up, then it would be 3 episodes with 6 segments, but I don't really care. Alright, so I'm gonna keep it a buck. Yeah, this shit is ugly. Like, butt fucking ugly. They commissioned the animation studio Counterpunch to do the animation for seasons 2 and 3, while Go for Launch did the modeling, sets, characters, and art direction. But from what I could tell, this was definitely a collaborative effort. Like the previous 2D animation and pre-production companies, both of these guys are well known within the animation industry, and from what it looks like, tried their best with this. There wasn't much production art from this, but from what I could find, it looked better than what the finished product did. I just don't know what the hell went wrong with it. It genuinely looks like they gave up halfway through. Versus season 1, these designs are just so bad in comparison. And it isn't even the fact that it's a 3D thing either. The kids in the show are just the same height and body type as the adults, and it just looks wrong. I was genuinely confused for a sec because I thought they were going through a fucking time skip or something, but nope. And on top of everything else, the best character in the show, who admittedly had the best voice actors, is just gone. Leaving for this boring ass cast, in all honesty, just aren't appealing in both personality and now looks. So what does this shit have to offer then? Oh, you sweet summer child, you have no idea. The second season of the LeBrons is if you took Xavier Renegade Angel and completely stripped it of all of its good qualities. Actually, fuck that. At least that show is supposed to look like shit for the sake of being funny. This just looks like shit while it's trying to be serious. As a matter of fact, this show is unintentionally funny because of how awful it looks. Are those supposed to be braids? Where's this nigga's hairline? He ain't got no taper or nothing. It looks like dookie strips on his skull. While the character animations themselves aren't entirely terrible here, sometimes the animation is fine. I mean, as fine as you could really get with a show like this. The lip sync is awful sometimes, and when there isn't an animation issue, the texture of this one character's shirt just changes from one episode to the next. Also, they had a model for this one episode where Obama was in it, and they just use the same model, but instead just make him white with hair. Another thing I took note of while watching this show is the fact that almost every episode you have LeBron yapping before it starts, as like a Fat Albert homage, and they did this in the first season. They like changed his shirt every episode to make it look like he was actually going in to record this shit daily. And like, the dedication is there, I can't knock them for it, but in the second season it's just LeBron with the same shirt on, who I assume is just answering questions about the plot of each episode in the same take. Same shirt, same pants, nigga's just chilling on a couch with no green screen. Really doesn't even look like he wants to be there anymore, to be honest, and I can't blame him because he probably has like a million other things that he could be doing right now. As I said earlier, the product placement is still relevant in this show, but I guess in this case, you are the product. This season introduces a new character to the cast in the first 2 episodes, but doesn't actually officially introduce him until the 3rd, which is really fucking dumb. I guess they had to show that they were partners with the US military literally every episode for some reason. Oh yeah, his name is Bryce, which I think is a nod to LeBron's son's name, but he's based off of a real person? It's confusing, I know. I'm still confused as to why I'm still submitting myself to this shit. Bryce is a US military lieutenant said to show how the US military upped his game and made a difference in his community. Which is very noble of him. I love how this show is showing how the United States military has made a change through dozens of communities throughout the world. Like I said, he's introduced in the 3rd episode, Hall Pass, where Dookie Cornrow ass nigga smells like Dookie from his Dookie Cornrows, exclaims to Kid and White Kid that they have a problem on their hands, and that problem being Bryce, who was evidently a star in high school, was coming back. And I can definitely see why he's a problem now. He's supposed to be making a difference in his community, but instead he opts to flame the fuck out of Dookie braids, nigga.
I wish I had a shield, because then I could protect my nose from that stank.
Probably his only redeeming quality, to be honest. And he also hits on high schoolers?
You what?
Look, I don't know how old you have to be a 2nd lieutenant, but I'm pretty sure this guy is over 18 and they are under 18. I feel like if they wanted to do right by this character and this US Army partnership, they should have at least had an episode dedicated to him actually holding the assembly he was supposed to hold at the school. That was the reason why he came, by the way. And instead of just this one episode in one location, Jesus Christ, they really ran out of budget for the show, by the way. Believe Entertainment Group did the funding for this show and produces it along with LeBron's own production company, Spring Hill Entertainment. They said regarding the budget, which is basically fancy talk for just saying, yeah, we didn't put that much money into this show, sorry. It's also important to note that this company specializes in custom branded content and pushing brands to a larger audience. I haven't seen any of their other shows beside this one, but they probably have just as much, if not more, product placement as they do in the LeBrons. I guess it's safe to say that this show is just basically a glorified commercial. A glorified commercial that had a little bit of thought into it at first, but eventually spiraled into the shit you see today. All the other episodes of season 2 lack any sort of soul or real thought put into them. It's like the people writing this wrote random shit on a wall and threw a dart at it blindfolded. And season 3 really isn't that better either. I mean, the models actually look good, but they still, for some reason, can't model braids. The upgrade of the models is really the only good thing I could say about this season, whereas everything else is bad and not worth mentioning. LeBron hinted about bringing these characters back in the future, but nothing has been made since. But who knows? Maybe it'll be brought back when LeBron retires. Yeah, that shit is never happening. We have a better chance of getting a 3rd season of Glitch Text than that. Dude, nobody knows what that show is.
She's like one of those hot anime characters.